Well, Blake Lively can forget about packing her bags for New Orleans this weekend. I guess
she can go.
She can still go to the Super Bowl.
She's just not going to get the best suite.
Gather round, because today's story is a cautionary tale about fame, power, and hidden alliances. We're exploring a scandal that has gripped Hollywood's Blake Lively, one so tangled it involves lawsuits, leaked audio, and an industry meltdown. What started as quiet rumors has become a full-blown public showdown, raising questions about what really goes on behind the scenes and how it might reshape the way we look at some of our favorite stars. For those new to the controversy, Blake Lively claims she suffered deep emotional trauma after working with Justin Baldoni. She said his actions left her too anxious to appear at public events or face cameras. Yet at the premiere of A Simple Favor, there she was, happily posing for photos as if nothing was amiss. That glaring inconsistency immediately stirred suspicions. Could her supposed fear be little more than a carefully orchestrated persona? Instantly, people asked how someone allegedly terrified of the spotlight could show up beaming under camera flashes. Was she exaggerating her distress for sympathy or legal leverage? This contradiction fueled speculation that she might have been playing the victim all along. Then, director Paul Feig weighed in, refuting any claims that Blake was too petrified to attend her own premiere, further chipping away at her narrative. A leaked audio clip soon catapulted the situation to the next level. Ari Emanuel, the CEO of WME, was caught explaining that Baldoni wasn't dropped due to misconduct, but because of powerful loyalties to Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. That revelation painted a grim picture of industry politics, implying that personal favoritism, not genuine wrongdoing, had dictated Baldoni's fate. Blake implied Baldoni's behavior had destroyed her peace of mind. However, Ari's confession suggested it was her own star power that drove his downfall. If Baldoni hadn't truly harmed her,
she will not be in Taylor Swift's suite because their friendship is in a, I don't even know if it's right to call it a friendship anymore.
You could call it kaput.
Yeah.
At least from one side.
People wondered, why did she want him blacklisted so badly? Did hidden tensions or grudges fuel her determination to push him out? This points to Hollywood's bigger machine, where a well-placed request can topple a person's entire career. Baldoni reportedly lost a Pac-Man film deal, a collaboration with Wayfair Studios, and other streamers the moment WME let him go. Meanwhile, Blake's career advanced. She narrated a Hulu documentary and made numerous appearances, seemingly unaffected by the anxiety she'd portrayed in her claims. Legal troubles soon piled up. Blake alleged that her emotional trauma was so profound it disrupted her life, while Baldoni countersued, insisting her accusations were baseless and had directly destroyed his reputation and livelihood. But the leaked audio from Emmanuel muddied the waters, suggesting the firing came down to star-driven favoritism. That cast serious doubt on Blake's version of events, making it appear less about justice and more about preserving her own influence. Should this reach trial, the industry could face an avalanche of inside information, emails, text messages, phone records, and possibly testimony from other Hollywood figures. We might see evidence that Blake orchestrated a deliberate smear campaign. Her cultivated image as a friendly, relatable star would be at risk if proof emerges that she used her clout to sideline Baldoni for personal reasons. Fans also wonder whether Ryan Reynolds played a direct role. As a major power broker himself, he could theoretically have made calls or pulled strings, although the transcript doesn't confirm his involvement. Still, the bigger question remains: why target Baldoni so relentlessly? Did they clash during filming, or was this about something else entirely? For a self-declared anxious star, Blake Lively certainly embraced public events. She might claim she was masking her struggles, but Paul Feig's statement suggested otherwise. Meanwhile, a Freakonomics podcast supposedly lost an episode with
I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had a intense year.
Ari Emanuel's candid remarks, prompting suspicions that someone influential tried to bury the evidence. Yet the clip ultimately surfaced online, and Blake's public stance that Baldoni was banished for legitimate wrongdoing took a major hit. Now, the industry braces for a trial that might yank back the curtain. It's one thing to suspect backstage favoritism, it's another to see it laid bare through court documents. If high-profile players get subpoenaed, their testimony could permanently tarnish reputations, revealing how easily a star's request can exile another person from big studio projects. According to the transcript, Baldoni's losses weren't minor. When WME dropped him, he lost established deals with studios, streaming platforms, and other lucrative partnerships. Meanwhile, Blake carried on as usual. never missing a beat in Hollywood's spotlight. If no evidence points to actual misconduct on Baldoni's part, it implies her star power alone could orchestrate his professional demise. Typically, such a dispute might be settled quietly, but Blake has built her lawsuit on claims of severe emotional distress. If she drops her case, she risks accusations that she fabricated the entire story. Baldoni, armed with Emmanuel's words indicating personal bias, has little incentive to settle. He might be awarded damages and a measure of public vindication if the court deems him wrongfully targeted. Public opinion is already shifting. At first, people sympathized with Blake, believing she had been deeply traumatized by an unchecked aggressor. Then contradictory details emerged: her red carpet appearances, her director's disbelief, and Ari Emanuel's admission that Baldoni was removed for personal reasons, not wrongdoing. Many fans now feel misled, fueling suspicion that Blake might have abused her star status. This scenario also raises the question of how often these types of blacklisting happen in secret. Without Emmanuel's offhand confession, who would suspect that an entire career could vanish at a celebrity's whim? Others may have endured similar injustice but lacked evidence or the resources to fight back. If this goes to trial, it might embolden more voices to share their experiences, challenging the tight-lipped norms of Hollywood deal-making. Blake Lively built her brand on likability and sincerity. If it's proven she distorted the truth to harm Baldoni, that wholesome image may crumble. Studios could hesitate to gamble on an actor who might manipulate them behind the scenes. Colleagues might keep their distance, fearing they could be her next target. And fans who once admired her warmth could feel betrayed. On the slim chance fresh evidence proves Baldoni truly harmed her, the story changes. Yet Ari Emanuel's plain statement that the firing was based on friendship, not misconduct, casts doubt on that possibility. The courts will decide whether there's more to Blake's accusations, but so far it looks like—
Amid the ongoing legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, an interview recorded prior to the lawsuits has been released where Baldoni alludes to having a difficult year.
Personal allegiances shaped Baldoni's fate. This controversy reveals how fast a powerful star can derail someone else's career, step out of line, or simply land on the wrong side of their circle, and your professional life might vanish. With the lawsuit inching toward a showdown, Blake's best move could be trying to settle before a public airing of dirty laundry. But paying off Baldoni or dropping her claims suggests she never had much of a case, opening her to even harsher judgment. Hollywood's long-ignored favoritism now sits under a spotlight. If a celebrity's mere whim can remove a colleague from major opportunities, what does that mean for accountability? A trial could prompt calls for more structured, fair procedures, instead of letting big names make or break others at will. Meanwhile, Baldoni fights to rebuild his trajectory. The transcript paints him as a casualty, blindsided by alliances he didn't realize existed. If the court sides with him, he could gain restitution and demonstrate he was unfairly blacklisted. For Blake, that would be devastating. She'd face the stigma of being a vindictive star who slandered a colleague for personal reasons while feigning victimhood. More individuals, co-stars like Anna Kendrick, for instance, could be drawn into the mire. Did they notice friction on set? Were they aware of any plan to push Baldoni aside? The deeper legal discovery goes, the likelier it is that additional skeletons emerge. This expanded web of revelations might jeopardize more than just Blake's standing. It could implicate other high-profile figures in secretive Hollywood power games. Ultimately, this story reminds us that public images can crumble when hidden truths break through. If Blake is forced to reveal emails or texts proving she embellished her anxiety, her credibility might collapse. Meanwhile, Baldoni, once the supposed villain, could become living proof of how quickly Hollywood can dispose of someone, no matter how solid their reputation, if they displease a top-tier star. One pressing irony is how thoroughly Blake continued living her glamorous life, while supposedly paralyzed by anxiety. If she was too terrified to leave her house, how did she keep making appearances, taking on new gigs, and presenting a polished face to the media? Even if she claims she was masking her pain, Feig's observation undercuts the entire premise. He directly stated he saw no sign of her being genuinely afraid. Critics point out that if she really needed to shut Baldoni out of the industry, she had the connections to do so. Ari Emanuel's confirmation that
Blake Lively steps out for the premiere of Another Simple Favor amid the Justin Baldoni drama. The actress, who reprises her role as Emily Nelson in the upcoming movie,
Personal loyalties drove Baldoni's firing reveals how easy it can be for an A-list actor to call in favors. And the moment a top agency deems you untouchable, you're in trouble. Streamers and studios almost always follow the agency's lead to avoid risking bigger stars' displeasure. Had this stayed behind closed doors, we might not even know Baldoni's side of the story. But a perfect storm, Blake's lawsuit, Feg's public contradiction, Emmanuel's leaked audio brought it all into the open. Hollywood now watches nervously, fearful that a trial will expose more clandestine dealings and tarnish high-profile figures who'd prefer the public see only their red carpet smiles. If new information exonerates Blake, that's one thing. But right now, her stance looks shaky. She's portrayed herself as a wounded star in need of protection, yet evidence suggests she has more than enough power to protect herself, and potentially to ruin another person's standing with little effort. That discrepancy is the core of this scandal. Who truly held the power and who actually suffered the consequences? Faced with that question, many observers are concluding that Baldoni took the real hit. His career collapsed. Hers did not. He was dropped from projects. She stayed in the spotlight. He lost deals. She kept landing new opportunities. If her nightmares were as severe as she implied, why didn't her professional life grind to a halt? Why did every door slam on him while she breezed through? As the legal fight inches forward, it might illuminate a deeper reality. Many in Tinseltown could be complicit in unwritten alliances. Executives who value star relationships over fairness might have felt compelled to cater to Blake's wishes, hoping to maintain a lucrative partnership with her and Ryan Reynolds. If the court demands documents or testimony proving such bias, it could ripple beyond this single case, undermining the entire system of hush-hush favors and covert blacklists. People outside the industry are also watching, reevaluating how much trust to place in celebrity stories. We all know public figures shape narratives to their advantage, but discovering that someone used claims of anxiety or emotional distress while apparently orchestrating a takedown behind the scenes crosses a moral line. Genuine mental health struggles deserve compassion. False cries for sympathy can erode public empathy for actual victims. In the end, we're left with a star who might face uncomfortable truths if the suit goes to trial. Will more revealing audio or written communications surface? Will others step?
2 weeks before the premiere, fans saw Blake and Anna, who returns to her role as Stephanie Smothers, reunite in the Another Simple Favor trailer.
Forward, describing how quickly Blake moved to remove Baldoni from major projects. The legal process could expose the real chain of events in exhaustive detail. Blake's best-case scenario might be to settle quietly, assuming Baldoni agrees. But given what Emmanuel's audio already revealed, he may well believe a trial is worth the risk. If he wins in court, he not only recovers potential damages, but also reclaims his reputation. In Hollywood, that's almost priceless. For Blake, losing in court could haunt her for years. Fans and industry power players might think twice before trusting a star who allegedly exploited her influence to banish someone she personally disliked. Ultimately, this scandal is a study in how illusions fall apart once private facts seep into public view. The polished veneer on Hollywood's facade can't conceal everything, especially if digital records and insider testimony back up accusations. If Blake Lively's claim that Baldoni harmed her is deemed a hollow pretense, it may mark a turning point. A famous actor caught weaponizing fear and public sympathy for hidden motives. We may not know the final outcome yet, but we do know that the entertainment world is on edge. A-listers, studio heads, and agencies are watching this fiasco with apprehension. If the discovery phase unlocks files that confirm star-driven favoritism, it could trigger demands for reform, or at least prompt quieter, more discreet methods of controlling who gets hired. Meanwhile, the rest of us look on, reminded again that stardom can cast a dark shadow when wielded without conscience. So where do things stand? For now, both parties seem prepared to let this escalate. Blake appears unwilling to retract her allegations, even as mounting evidence undercuts them. Baldoni seems determined to fight for his name and livelihood, armed with that leaked audio as proof he was pushed out for personal reasons. Their collision course might tear open Hollywood's hidden power structures in a way we've rarely seen.